Thank you very much for making time to come and join us today. I know that many of you have traveled a long way to be here. Today, we are going to introduce to you something very special, Sikkim. John, Maureen and Maureen will be in here today to share with us their wonderful Sikkim experience.
Yes, thank you. Right, firstly, I would also like to thank the two Maureens, Maureen Hudson for all the technical expertise, gathering it together, and getting machines to talk to each other. I don't understand anything except how to click from one picture to the next, so if we have technical problems I'll have to hand over. And my sister Maureen, who's also given a lot of the important information, all which I'd forgotten by the end. Making things happen for you as if by magic. You'll express a preference for something, and a couple of days later you'll just happen upon that as if by chance. Right, so Mian's explained a bit about Sikkim, where it is. It's tiny, it's 1/500th of the landmass of India as a whole. It's really only been a nation proper since 1642. There were waves of people going across from one direction to the other for hundreds of years, particularly waves of people from Tibet in the 8th century. We found that it was a fairly green place. A fair amount of parkland, a fair amount of places to walk. And the rubbish problem wasn't too bad there, it was all kept under control. There's a generally nice feeling that Calcutta's for the people, and they enjoy it. On our way back, we stopped at the riverbank. Our guide thought this would be a good way to spend some time, and it was lovely. People were just walking down by the river. It's for somewhere in the middle of the city. It's lovely and peaceful, and very beautiful. If anybody asks, you haven't seen this picture because it's not legal to photograph that bridge, the Howrah Bridge, in case somebody chooses to. I haven't got nobody here that was thinking of working out how to blow that up later. Now, a little bit about food and drink. Wonderful little tea stalls everywhere. It's a lovely thing to do. Just stop and have a cup of tea. It's perfectly good, lovely tea, perfectly safe, extremely cheap. The bell puri you might want to steer clear of because street food in general, our stomachs may not be used to it, particularly this sort of thing which a lot of water is used in. If you've got something fresh cooked in front of you, that's a different matter. This is not cooked and might not be safe. The food generally, when you get up into Sikkim, you can get general Indian food, pan-Indian food. You can also get Sikkimese food, which is like Tibetan, like Bhutanese. It's perhaps not as spicy, it's filling, very nice. Also, if you do have dietary problems, belongs to the Agu sect, which are a black hat sect. There are three that will be coming across as we go through here. I won't bombard you too much information. They don't always get on. At Rumtet they particularly don't get on because the current incarnation of their leader, it was disputed for a number of years. They had a gunfight amongst the monks about 10 years ago. Things have settled down now, it's been recognised, the succession has been recognised, but he's still actually living in Dharamsala. So this is old Rumtet, beautiful old monastery. Rain. I don't think we had any that morning, so I'm not quite sure. Maybe it was for the sun. Prayer wheels, prayer flags, and prayer lamps you will see everywhere. Very much a feature of Tibetan style Buddhism, which is what most of the temples are. I should mention that these sects, the yellow, black, and red hats, all that come across from Tibet. Prayer wheels are to release your prayers. To release more prayers than you personally could do by praying hard. You will find lines of them which are supposed to rotate clockwise would be right hand. Now we're going to New Rumtek, which was built in the 1960s because the sect became so big that they couldn't be contained in the old monastery. There is the original black cat in this monastery. It's a pleasant walk up. These dogs you'll find everywhere. Temple dogs. They know when they're onto a good thing because the monks will feed them. It's a vegetarian diet, so they can't be too choosy. They have a lovely time, they're friendly. You don't ever have to worry about dogs in this part of the world. It's a great learning centre. I should mention, because of the earlier problems, there is serious security there. You have one man in an army uniform who makes you walk through a metal detector, which isn't a metal detector, it's just a metal frame, it's not plugged into anything, but it makes you feel secure. Now, it's a centre of learning. They bring them from all ages. You'll see this boy on one of the posters here, for which I also thank Maureen. But it's definitely not got the tense atmosphere it had a few years ago. Yes, I've seen the original black hat is here. The first spiritual leader who came here, well, the first spiritual leader of this sect, went to meditate in a cave. And 10,000 fairies each gave him a hair from their own head. And he wove them into a hat, which is now kept in a box. And if it's taken out, they have to hold on to it in case it flies away and wants to go back to fairy heaven. So you have wonderful paintings. These are obviously new. It's 50 years old, but it's become a massive complex now. You have the big temple, the monks' quarters, and the place of learning. You can photograph all around the outside of monasteries. They don't, in a lot of places, let you take photographs inside, but you'll see later there are some exceptions, and those exceptions make it worthwhile. But otherwise you're free to photograph everywhere. Everybody's very friendly and welcome. Now, we had a lunch stop in Gangtok town, which we have time to eat and time for little shopping. You'll find on the tour you have 3 or 4 little stops where you go to see particular things. Now, these are not done for hard sell. They're done. It was founded in the 19th century. You'll see later there's a post about it. Beautiful central gate. And beautifully preserved, beautifully restored. And more prayer wheels. And more happy dogs. You won't see an underfed dog. Yes, this was the Lama who found it's a beautifully built stone hotel on a ridge with magnificent views, which you will see later. The rooms are very comfortable. The food was the best of all, and that's saying something because they were all really good. But the food here was out of this world. Now we go on to Kamiyakse Monastery, which means perfect sublime lotus. This is the headquarters of the Red Hat sect. It's a 3-story temple. You can go up inside each of the stories, and at the top there's this wonderful mandala 3D one, which is a representation of the Buddhist universe. We also, again, not really by coincidence, got there at prayer time. We bought some prayer flags, and in an elaborate ceremony, the chief monk there blessed the prayer flags for us, and we've got them up in our garden. It's a beautiful temple. It's 17th century, but it's been remodeled several times, so it looks as new. And it is also, again, a place of learning. These are Mani stones, which you'll find in a lot of Himalayan states. It's as a mantra on it, hail to the jewel and the lotus. They're often put in walls or in piles of stones near rivers or other geographical features as offerings to the local spirits. And there is one with the mantra on it. Beautiful decorations in this, as in all temples. And then you can see that some of the buildings are quite a lot older. It is that the birds keep it clean because the birds have respect for the sanctity of the place. It is a very lovely spot. It's sacred to many of the ethnic groups around there, particularly to the lecture majority who live there in that area. Here is a very elaborate mine for them, and their flags that surround the lake. Now, back to the itinerary for that day. You're in like an Pelling area, and this one is, I'm going to get the name right, it's the second oldest in Sikkim. This is how it's been damaged by the earthquake, and they're gradually restoring it. There was a big earthquake in 2011 which damaged a lot of stuff there. Mainly now they've got it down to superficial damage, which they are working on to bring it back to that state. This is a lovely place. Monks will open it for you. And they were having a big meet up there. Everybody in the village sitting there chanting. Turned out we were the first ever European visitors. So we were asked to march 3 times down the temple, 3 times down the stupas, and then right down. And then we were invited to tea cookies. It was a real experience for us to be in on their ceremony, and they really appreciated having outsiders coming with an interest in their place. You can see as we were honoured guests, we got huge lamps. And
25 rupees.
35 rupees, or 35 pence, because it is a beautiful place. There's another Mayfair resort. On the, if I say on the edge of town, I mean as soon as you start walking into town proper, countryside on the other side. It is a beautifully laid out hotel, beautiful grounds. That's the block we stayed in, and you get views from there. Most of the time in Darjeeling we had sunshine and cloud wafting across, so you've got quite sort of mysterious look about it. Quick mention Tiger Hill. This is off the back of my t-shirt, which is all we saw of it. Because the time we were in Darjeeling was a bit misty in the mornings, it wasn't worth getting up at 3:30 to go on a drive to see a sunrise that wasn't going to happen. If you go at other times of the year, or if you're there at our time and you're lucky with the weather, you will get it. If you don't fancy getting up at that time of the morning, I can say that from the hotel, a couple of 100 yards walk, you get to a viewpoint where you can see Kanchenjunga anyway. So if you're not the sort of person that likes indecently early starts like me, you don't have to. As you go into Darjeeling, you pass the train, which runs along the side of the road, across the road, back the other side, pulls up the traffic, something shocking. There is a very short video of it, and you have a pleasant ride not too late. This is on our lunch stops, nice and easy, it's all set out for you. That was proper, local Tibetan Sikkimese food, even though you're officially outside, and in what they now refer to as Gorkha land, some of the local people, a little controversial. This is a zoo which is attached to Mountaineering Institute. It's not just a gawk at the animal zoo, it's a research and breeding program. This is a rare blue sheep. For once, the only other time I've actually seen it is in a wildlife documentary being eaten by a snow leopard. This is Sambar, which you usually see being eaten by tigers. Attached to the zoo is the Mountaineering Institute. This is not Biggles, this is Sherpa Tenzing Norgay, first man to climb Everest with Hillary. He was the head of the institute for a number of years, finished his life there, spent a long time there. This is his cremation site. There's a museum there. Indian museums in general are really good. Enough information for you to get by. They're clear and they're enjoyable, and they're not slick and touchy-feely. So a particular thing of mine, I don't necessarily want to have everything interactive and too many mock-ups of things. But it's an interesting museum there. We saw 4 leopards, black, common, which is the common, clouded and snow leopard. which is very cute, and they have actually been really successful. Their breeding program released them into the wild. This is not as cuddly as it looks. It's a Tibetan wolf. And this is the traffic in Darjeeling. Most of the time, the roads will slow you down when they're a bit patchy. Darjeeling is the one place where the traffic will slow you down because everybody seems on that particular stretch of road to go mad. The pedestrians wander in and out. Drivers go from inside to outside with no warning. It's usually a lot better. We're near a covered market in the hotel. You can walk up into, walk up to the higher part of town by a covered market, or you can walk down by the shops, which are very pleasant to look at. Life isn't easy for everyone there. Monkeys can be a nuisance, they say. If you leave them alone, they tend to leave you alone. They just don't have any food handy, or they will want to come for it. And as I said, it's on the edge of an area, a rural area. Park Hotel. Previously, they were staying out at the airport, which meant driving in and driving out to see anything. Here, you can just walk out the hotel, and a lot of things there right on your doorstep, including restaurants. So if you have your own dinner the last night, there's one next door. There's little bars and restaurants all the way along Park Street itself, but you can also go further afield. And that is it. I'm going to let you go because you want to eat, but sorry if that's been bombarded with information. We really wanted to share our enthusiasm because we loved it so much. You'll be able to ask us questions while we're eating, but is there anything anybody wanted to ask me that they feel has been missed out?
Is there an issue on malaria?
No. There weren't many mosquitoes. It's not a malarial area. In theory, it could be a problem in the subtropical valleys, but you're not really spending a great deal of time. All we did, we took plug-in stuff for night time. We never plugged it in. We took sprays, which I think in Calcutta we had, but in Sikkim itself, I think we just took it with us every day as a talisman, but never actually had to use it. And that, considering that's probably the warmest time of the year, it would be May and June, it wasn't a problem. Leashes. It was only that one place. It's just recommended that you either don't walk through the grass. I just love walking in the morning through the dew-covered grass and having the cool grass on your feet until I realised that my shoe was stuck to my foot and it was blood. And it did make both of us had bleach bites, and we did feel quite rough afterwards. So that's the only time you encounter them. Just put shoes on.
Just
the
tuck
grass
your
is so
trousers
short.
into your socks.
I was wearing shoes. I wasn't wearing socks, and it got up underneath my trousers. So.
Anything else? Okay, well, I'm sorry, it was supposed to take me about 40-45 minutes, but I droned on, so you should well have an appetite right now. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.